lower caloric intake with a little bit extra exercise than you normally do, boom, fantastic way to lose fat. Hey guys, I'm Mark McKilliard with Live Anabolic, and today I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to lose those love handles forever. And I got some good news and some bad news. All right, which one do you want first? Let's start off with the bad news first. Love handles is just another fat storage, okay? So everybody stores their fat slightly different. It's genetic, all right? Now, women have a different genetic makeup than men. Women tend to store it down on their hips and their thighs and their ass. Men tend to store it around our waist, all right? And that's just kind of the way it is. It's not the same for everybody. But guys, love handles are just fat. And the only way to lose those love handles is to lose overall body fat. You can't. I know this is the bad news also. You cannot spot lose fat. So you can't focus on just certain areas of fat with certain exercises. That's what a lot of people think. You can do a lot of sit-ups, or you can do side crunches or things that target your oblique muscles. Well, all you're doing is just making the muscles under the love handles stronger, all right? So that's not gonna make those love handles go away, all right? So that's the bad news, all right? The good news, all right, is you've been waiting for this. Once you get rid of them, it's way, way easier to keep them off than it is to go through the process to take them off. The losing the body fat is the hard part, guys. But once you get your body fat down to where you're happy, it's much easier to maintain, all right? And that's gonna take me into tip number 1. This is a good kind of a good segue. Tip number 1, guys, you have to get into a caloric deficit on a daily basis. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you have to ingest fewer calories than you expend or burn off in a normal, typical day. But how do you calculate that? How do you know if you're burning more calories than you're consuming? You got to do this, guys. Please, please listen to this. I know a lot of guys aren't going to do it because you're too damn lazy, but you need to get over that crap. You need to write down everything you eat for one day. You don't have to do it for a month. You don't even have to do it for a week. Just pick one typical eating day out of your week and write down every single damn thing you put in your mouth. And I mean, get anal about it. And you can't just write down, okay, I had chicken. You need to know how many ounces of chicken you had, how many donuts you had, whatever it is, how many strips of bacon you had. You got to know the volume or the weight in grams typically, all right? Write it all down. And then at the end of the day, you're going to use these 2 apps that we're going to give you. We're going to give you links under this video. I'm going to give you hot links. These are great ways to calculate these 2 numbers. So the first number is, how many calories do you just typically burn in a day? That's easy. You don't have to write anything down. All right, you click on this app. It's going to ask you for your age, your height, your weight, and then you're going to pick an activity level, okay, out of about 5 or 6, all right? Pick your activity level. You hit go. There's a little button you hit, or calculate it, and it's going to tell you how many calories you burn on a typical day, and that's your maintenance level, all right? If you eat that many calories and you burn that many calories, you're not going to get fatter, but you're also not going to lose any body fat. You're just going to break even, all right? But that's an important number to know. And the reason is, guys, I want you to shoot for about 500 calories less than that as your daily intake, all right? And we're going to get to that in just a second. How do you calculate that? All right, so the reason that I want you to have about a 500 calorie deficit on a daily basis is because 500 times 7 days a week is 3,500 calories per week that you're going to burn more than you ingest. Why is that number important? Well, that's because 1 pound of fat is equivalent to 3,500 calories. And that's also a pretty good steady rate of losing fat. If you can lose a pound of fat a week, it doesn't sound like much, but that is phenomenal. I mean, 4 pounds a month is is a fantastic pace to lose body fat because you're not going to be shocking your body by starving yourself. It's something that most men can typically maintain, all right? And your body, if you go too severe on restricting calories, your body tends to go into starvation mode, and it really tries to hold on to those fat stores because it thinks you're starving to death, all right? So you got to trick your body. You got to get to a point just a little bit below what the maintenance level is, but not too low as to force your body to slow its metabolism down because it thinks it's starving. All right, so this is a big long tip, guys. I'm sorry it's taking so long, but this is very important. Now the other thing is, that's how you calculate how many calories you burn. Now, you got to write down what you eat in a day, and at the end of the day, I want you to use this second app. Once again, the link is right below this video, okay? And that's the Food Calorie Calculator. And it's going to take a few minutes. It's a little bit of a pain, but it's once. You only got to do it once. And you're going to enter in all your food that you ate and how many ounces or grams or however you kept track of it. And when you use this calculator, it's going to tell you how many calories you consumed. It'll also tell you how many grams of protein and carbs and fat, all right? But the main thing right now is just the calories. Add all that up, all right? Everything you ate, and that's your typical daily caloric intake. And now you need to compare that with what the other app, the other calculator told you is the break-even point. So, once again, you're going to have to modify your daily caloric intake because you're shooting for 500 calories less than you burn. All right, that's the most efficient and effective way. All right. However, a lot of guys are going to be, it's just not working fast enough for you. All right. Everybody's different. This is not really science, guys. This is not like physics where you have hard and fast rules. All right. This is kind of rule of thumb type numbers I'm giving you here, ballpark figures. So if you need to do something else, instead of starving yourself and trying to lower your daily caloric intake below that 500 calorie deficit, just try adding more exercise. Okay. Add a little more cardio, add a little more weightlifting, do it, almost every day if possible. It's when you combine those things that it really works. And guys, that's what these professional bodybuilders do. And I'm not talking about the big giant guys, those are crazy, but I'm talking about the really good looking guys in the 20s and 30s that are just jacked and look fantastic. That's what they do to get ready for a contest. They lower their caloric intake, but they don't go crazy low. Otherwise, they'll start losing muscle, all right? So they just lower it a little bit. They start months in advance because they just want to lose about a pound of fat a week, and then they add in a little extra cardio. They'll get on the bicycle for 30 minutes a day. They don't go crazy. They're not killing themselves. They'll get on the treadmill. A lot of these guys just walk. Some of them get on the Stairmaster, okay? They just add 20, 30, sometimes 40 minutes of light cardio every day, and that combination of lower caloric intake with a little bit extra exercise than you normally do, boom, fantastic way to lose fat. And guess what, guys? That translates into losing those love handles. All right, now tip number 2 is part of the good news, guys. Tip number 1 is the bad news because that's hard. There's a lot of work there, and that's why there's so many overweight people, because it ain't easy. All right, but the things that I told you are pretty straightforward. If you just do discipline, you can do it. Anyway, tip 2 is the good news, guys. Way, way, way easier and a lot more fun. Now, guys, as we get older, and that's who I'm talking to, I'm 61 years old, our hormones just don't work like they used to. I don't have to tell you that. You probably already know that. So we got testosterone issues and we got estrogen issues. And if you didn't know, men do produce estrogen. So sometimes we might have an estrogen problem. Maybe our T is not low, but maybe our estrogen is high. And it's hard to know unless you're doing blood work, but anyway, it goes without saying that high estrogen levels actually cause your body to hold on to fat. It makes it much harder to burn fat if you have high estrogen or low T. Either one or both is even worse. So this is why this is the good news. You can try a supplement and see if that helps. All right, doesn't work for everybody, but guys, when you click on our website, scroll down below all the description of testo greens, all right? Because it tells you all the ingredients. I think there's over 50 different different vegetables and fruits and all kinds of other. I mean, I can't even keep track. There's so many in here. But scroll down below that and you'll see the customer testimonials. And it just gets fantastic reviews. I mean, so many guys were kind of struggling to lose fat, and they were kind of had plateaued. Maybe they had lost 10 pounds and then that was it. It stopped coming off. And then they added a supplement to their daily routine and boom, all of a sudden their body started dropping more and more fat. Now, if it doesn't work for you, and it's genetic dependent and nutrition. Some guys have got fantastic nutrition. You guys have it dialed in, all right? It may not help you. Some guys' genetics just may not work with this stuff. But for the majority of guys, you're gonna see a really good benefit. But if it doesn't, it's okay. We have the best guarantee in the supplement industry. Nobody else does this. We'll give you your money back. You don't even have to send back the bottle, all right? That's the trick the other guys do. They make you send it back, and it's a pain in the ass, and you got to pay for the shipping, and so you don't do it. And then you don't get your money back. Well, we just want you to send us an email and explain what's going on, and we'll refund your money. And the cool news is our refund rate is incredibly low. I think we have the lowest refund rate in the industry. So give it a try, guys. Testo Greens, it's basically, it's like cheating on your daily nutrition, because most guys, including myself, we don't get enough vegetables, all right? Simple as that. This helps flush the excess estrogen out of your body, and it also helps with improving your testosterone production, and that combination makes it so much easier to put on muscle and lose fat. All right, the third one, guys, is lowering your cortisol levels. Now, cortisol is another hormone that we produce naturally, and it's the fight or flight hormone. It's caused by stress, okay? And lowering your cortisol levels is easier said than done. So what causes stress in your life? Well, everybody's got different reasons, right? I mean, it might be financial stress, it might be family issue stress. But one of the ways you can help lower that is to really focus on your sleep, all right? So if you're getting, 4 or 5 hours of kind of restless sleep at night, that's really bad for your cortisol levels. It'll tend to raise your cortisol. And by the way, the more cortisol your body produces, the less testosterone it can produce. Those things are inversely related. Apparently there's an enzyme, and this is all over my head, guys. But there's an enzyme, and your body uses that enzyme to produce cortisol, and that same enzyme is also used to produce testosterone. So if it's using too much of it to produce cortisol, then there's less of it to make testosterone, and there you go. So sleep is not an easy solution for some of you guys, but some of you guys could make a major change just by turning the TV off earlier, all right? Getting rid of, the social media, the cell phone or the tablet or whatever you're reading. Just force yourself to go to sleep earlier. That will, in turn, lower your cortisol, improves your testosterone, boom, makes it way easier to burn fat. Less fat means fewer love handles. All right, I want to sum this all up with some more good news. So the hard part is losing the love handles in the first place. The good news is once you get rid of them, it's so much easier because you don't have to eat in a caloric deficit anymore. You can change your eating and exercise habits so that you're breaking even on a daily basis. So you're expending less energy and you're eating a little bit more food, and then all of a sudden those things match up. All right, you're not going to start putting fat back on. All right, if you're burning the same amount of calories as you're eating every day, you won't put on fat. All right, that's kind of where I have become. I had to lose some fat a long time ago, all right? And it was no fun doing it. But once I got down to where I wanted to be, it was so much easier. I'm just kind of on cruise control, all right? And I can have cheat days every once in a while and blow my diet because I know that I can come back and eat really healthy for the next 2 or 3 days and maybe add a little extra exercise in there, and boom, I'm back basically treading water where I want to be, all right? So guys, 3 pretty straightforward tips, and I promise if you just stick with these and never give up on yourself, you will lose those love handles.